Good evening, everybody. Coffee on, coffee strong. Appreciate you joining me. Glad to have everybody back, man, really. Appreciate you checking the channel out. Give me a thumbs up. Hey, subscribe. Let everybody know about it, man. This is kind of a continuation. About a month ago, I did a video, True Stories of the North Carolina Booger. Okay? Now, I say that to say this. There's a particular channel, there's two of them I watch, because I'm into all kind of mysterious stuff, you know. I don't discount it. I have an open mind. I always approach things with an open mind. Go where the evidence goes. I like to watch How to Hunt, Brother Steve, How to Hunt on YouTube, and also a channel called BIGFOOT Stacy. Now, these two guys allow people to come on the channel and share their experiences. Okay, I hadn't had experience on my own, but I've heard many stories here in Carolina. Okay, especially when I was a little boy. One particular old timer, we never heard the term Bigfoot ever until I think the first time I heard the term Bigfoot was watching the $6 Million Man, where Steve Austin had to fight the Bigfoot, you know, and that was, of course, Andre the Giant dressed up. You know, I said, "Dad, what is that?" And he said, "That's a booger." And I'm like, "What's a booger?" So he kind of enlightened me. So here we have a lot of rural counties: Bladen County, Brunswick County, Cumberland County, Hope County, Harnett County. So, and it's a lot of country. And a lot of old timers will tell you he's just as real as you and me. But we've always called them boogers. The old timers say they travel around in family groups and they live like wild people, often described as half man, half ape, or maybe a feral person. That they're real hairy, real huge. They live off the land. So I'm always open-minded about that. Once I put that video out, I got some good response to it. One particular lady back in the day knew what I was talking about, knew the exact story I was talking about, and she had an experience with the thing, but she did not want to talk about it. She and her family, only thing she would say was they had a mobile home at the beach, so on the weekends they would go to the beach. And back then, you didn't have central ACs in those homes. You know, you might have had a window unit, but at night, and it got real cool, it was the kind you turned the thing and the window would go out like that. So her husband had just went to the store down the road, because it was in a rural area. It was at the beach, but it was very rural, a lot of wooded area. And her daughter were in the living room, you know, watching TV, and something stuck its hand up inside the window. It had snatched the screen and stuck its hand up. They said it was black and hairy and had some blood on it. And once they got to screaming, it snatched his arm out and took off. Then when her husband arrived, that they were so hysterical, I think she said they ended up going back home, but she wouldn't tell more about it. But most folks that have these experiences, they find a hard time trying to come forward and talk about it. So, like I say, I'm open-minded, man. I'm not going to discount it. A lot of people say, "Oh man, he ain't real," da, 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 da. Until you have an encounter, you don't know. You know, I heard one particular story in Pembroke, North Carolina, back years ago. This was probably in the 70s, where a couple had a mobile home and they had 3 kids, and they left to go somewhere and left the 3 kids to play, and kids were playing in the woods, and they come up on something, and they thought they'd disturb its hunt. Some kind of wild creature or wild man or something. Anyway, the boys started running, and the creature was chasing them, screaming. Had a loud, ear-piercing scream. So the oldest boy got up in the trailer and closed the door and locked his two brothers out. But they happened to have like an old freezer outside that had the slide glass on it. And the two boys got in there and slammed the door shut and ducked down. Said the thing come along, put its hand on top of the freezer and was sniffing up in the air. And later on, it left. And the boys were able to get out of the freezer and end up getting in the trailer and start a fight with their brother. Why did you lock us out? And da da da. So later on that evening, those trailers, you know how they had the big windows on the very end, they were in the bedroom playing, and one of the kids had one of those toy guns that had the laser thing on it. When you pull the trigger, it made that noise and you see the red, and he was waving it at the kids, picking on them, and then all of a sudden the look on his face went flush, and said the thing was looking in the window. Said it was about 7.5 feet tall, looking in the window and breathing. Said it started slapping the side of the home, and the boys ran into the living room and hid, I think behind a couch, is what the boy reported. Said the thing was actually able to got the back door open, but he never did come in. Then when the parents come home, the kids are all hysterical and all that stuff. But you know, but the North Carolina booger, man, that's a lot of people, man. There was a friend of mine that he's passed away now, but he told me an odd story. He was a pilot, but he was an ag pilot. He flew North Carolina and South Carolina, and he crop dusted. So there was one particular field in Bladen County that he always remembered. He sprayed this field every year, and he was out there. It had a lot of acreage, and he said that he went down, leveled the plane out, and started shooting out the dust. And he was going along there, and he was approaching a line of trees. And he said he saw this thing standing behind a tree with his hand wrapped around it, just looking. And he said he fixated on it and said, "What in the hell am I looking at?" And said that last minute he had to pull up on the stick and bring that plane up so he wouldn't hit the trees. So he wheeled around and said he'd make another pass. And once he made that other pass, said that thing won't there no more. So, hey, he said he never really talked to anybody about it, said, but it freaked him out, you know. That's what we call a booger. You know, you got Sasquatch, you got skunk ape, and just all kind of names. But Bigfoot Stacy, he does a lot of research on the Florida skunk ape, but really all of it, but his main thing is the Florida skunk ape. But I'm open-minded, man. I'm not going to call you crazy. I mean, you don't know what's out there. I mean, how can you say, well, it don't exist? Okay, I don't hunt. I'm a fisherman, okay? We got the Cape Fear River that runs along close to my home. It runs all the way to Brunswick County into New Hanover County, all the way into Wilmington and straight back up. Now these things travel the wood line along the river, and if you ever see these big towers that run power lines, that run parallel and run straight, they walk amongst those too. I don't know if they use it as a travel route or whatever. I don't know, but my dad and his friend, when I was a little kid, they always called it Booger, hairy man or Booger. So, and they'd always used to say, don't go outside, the booger will get you. But, you know, the old timers say if you don't bother him, he won't bother you. And a lot of times you can bother him and not know it, and then they'll start harassing you, is what one particular gentleman said. You know, if they know where you live at, they'll come around your house and start harassing your farm animals, killing your chickens and stealing your chickens and stealing your hogs, and I don't know what would set them off. I think if you invade their territory and not know it, they're going to get your attention. I think the thing nowadays, people start seeing tree twisting and trees pulled up and turned upside down and all of these things. And the old timer that I'm talking about said that the thing they would go out, they would live by the river in the swamps. Said it would go out and get these damn poisonous snakes, cottonmouths and mess. One that'll kill you if he bites you. Said he'll take it and tie the darn son of a bitch in a knot and throw it on your porch. So when you come out in the morning, there's a big darn snake tied in a knot. And you go out there to your chicken pen, and the chicken pen will be tore all up, and your feed barrels will be turned over. And of course, I know black bear can do that too, but there's some of the guys that would find footprints and that sort of thing, and said he had a smell to him that smelled like a rotten roadkill if he ever walked up on you. But a lot of the old timers said they used to see them all the time, especially if they worked with a logging company, because they'd see them out walking in the woods, because they'd get upset about you invading their territory and tearing their timber away and all that kind of stuff. So, like I say on my other video, my dad had some kind of experience with one. He kept having to go back and repair stuff, and check that video out. I got the whole story on it. But I don't discount it, man. I like watching these channels. These guys that do pretty good. Steve's pretty good at it. He'll let you come on the channel if you send him an email and tell him your story. He's not going to make fun of you because he's had an encounter, so he knows how it is. I hadn't had an encounter. I don't know, but from listening to all the old timers around where I live at, because I'm close to Fort Bragg, these things have been sighted on the base while troops were out doing their training maneuvers, and seeing people out there running around that wasn't supposed to be there, and they call out to them, hey, you're not supposed to be here, and they'd run off in the woods, and they'd hear all kind of noises and that sort of thing, so I'm one that believes some kind of animal, something between a human, a cryptid. Most of the time when you talk to these people, the first time they talk about it, the only thing that they can relate it to is a big gorilla standing on 2 feet, huge, built like a tank, So, and most of them down here in the South aren't described as being as big as the ones on the Pacific coast or in Canada. They're a little bit slimmer. They're built big, but they're slim at the waist, kind of like a basketball player. They're real tall, but they got a lot of strength, So that's the difference on the East Coast, especially where I'm at, from the people that talk to me when I bring the subject up. A lot of people are reluctant, but they describe them as being slim at the waist and built up at the shoulders and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you got a story, share it, man. I'm open-minded on it. I don't discount the UFO connection or the portal connection. It's kind of hard for me to believe that part of it. I'm not going to discount it, but I think it's some kind of wild person, from what the old timers has told me, And Dale, flying that airplane, he said he was going through there and it shocked him, and he's about to hit the darn trees because he's staring at this thing trying to figure out, what in the hell am I looking at? Last minute, pulls the stick back so he can bring that plane up, and he's a mess now because he went to South Carolina to dust a field, and he said he dusted it every year. For some reason or other, somebody put a damn guide wire down there, and he didn't see it, and his wing clipped that guide wire, and it throwed the plane. It hurt him up, busted him up real bad. He finally got back to going, but he didn't fly no more after that. But he said he flew that, dusted that field every year. For some reason or another, somebody put a wire up out there and he didn't know it. And he hit it, because that was back when they didn't have the GPS and all of that on the planes. It was just a regular crop duster. But that story intrigued me when he told me about it. You know, it's things are out there that you don't know about, man. Now let me tell you something, man. Well, like I said, the Cape Fear River runs by here. You can tell me I'm full of shit if you want to. I don't care. There's cougars being seen out there. And what's the other one? They're tan color, like. But the wildlife will say, no, they ain't no. Yeah, they are. They brought them out here to help with the deer population. There's been a black panther or a black cougar seen out there, and people have taken pictures of them. And they brought them out here to help with the deer population, just like they did with coyotes. Because I remember back in the day, people were seeing coyotes, and they were like, nah, it ain't no coyote. Bullshit. The wildlife brought them down here and let them loose. Now that's why there's open season on coyotes all the time. They want you to go out and shoot up as many coyotes as you want to, because they got out of control. They're doing these cats the same way. They've been seen out there, man. You know? But then the guy in Bladenboro that had a bunch of pit bulls, and he stayed along the river. And he walked out one morning, man, and one of his pit bulls is laying dead in the yard with a broken neck. The chain had been snatched from the dog house, and all the rest of the pit bulls wouldn't come out of their dog houses. Something had got a hold of it and killed it. Broke the chain away from the dog house and everything. And, you know, pit bulls are strong dogs, man. Something got a hold of this dog, and they, you know, and I'm thinking it was a Booger, man, because they don't particularly like dogs, especially if they're aggressive. Usually they, you know, if the dog don't come up on them acting aggressive and the dog runs away, it's fine. But you talking about a full-grown pit bull. So, I mean, I'll come back from time to time and tell some more stories when I talk to some more people about it. But you know, there's been people on the Cape Fear River catfishing like what I do, catfish, and have stuff thrown in the water at them close to their boat, like rocks and sticks, and you just think it's some smart kid out in the woods that's throwing stuff at you. You know, who's going to be out there in the woods 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and it pitch dark, and all the lights you got is your little lantern or your little electric lights while you're catfishing? You know, like I say, I don't discount it. No, I'm not crazy. I hadn't seen anything, but I'm interested in the stories, so you could tell Steve on how to hunt and share your story with him, or share your story with Bigfoot Stacy, because they've had experiences. I haven't. I've just heard the stories, but it just amazes me, man, that you ever thought about walking in the woods, man, and really thinking about what's there, that you, because we've all been taught, you know, you walk in the woods, okay, that's a bear, that's a possum, that's a raccoon, that's a skunk, that's a deer. You know what you're looking at. If you look at a bear, you know you're looking at a bear. You know it. But you see one of these things, your mind goes into short circuit. Just like Dale said, flying the airplane, he said his mind froze. It's like, what in the hell am I looking at? Usually when you see something, you know what it is. You know what it is. But when you see one of these things, your mind short circuits because you're trying to figure out. I think that's why people freeze. They freeze up and can't move because they're sitting there like, what am I looking at? That's what Dale said. He said at last minute, he pulled the throttle back and pulled that stick and to move the plane up so he wouldn't hit the trees. So, I don't know, man. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't call me crazy. Well, I am crazy anyway, you know, but that particular subject, man, has always intrigued me, man. Thank you for watching the channel. hit like and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, help me share the channel, man, so I can get some more views, man, and get out there. And this is a topic, man, that's slowly coming out to the open. People starting to talk about it. Y'all have a good one.